On a local boat brought his warships down from Georgia, anchored them off the Atlantic coast of Anastasia Island, dragged the cannon along the sand and sent them over there across the bay on present-day Davis shores, and from there bombarded the Castillo de San Marco for 30 days. Each night, Spanish soldiers come out of the fort, remove the cannonballs stuck in the coquina walls, and replaster. So you can imagine the scene. Each of the following mornings, the British soldiers would get up, look across the river, and see that despite all their hard work of the previous day, no permanent damage to the masonry on the Castillo de San Marco. And after 30 days of this nonsense, General Oglethorpe, running short on supplies needed back in Georgia, headed out back home. And the main reason the defense of the Castillo was so successful against cannonballs was due to that absorbent quality of coquina, and some of these walls at the base 17 feet thick. Army Corps of Engineers came down here to take over responsibility for the fort when it became a national monument. They saw the dry moat the Spanish built around it. Guess what they decided to do? Yep, fill it with seawater. Turned out to be a terrible idea. You'll see the cracks in the masonry at different ends of the bastion where the coquina started to absorb the seawater from the moat, got so heavy started to crumble. Fortunately, the Army saw the mistake in time and drained the moat to avoid any further damage. Here's where the northern town wall once stood. This fabricated line of palm logs you see in front of us. It was real wood to look just like this, stretching from the bayfront to our right, through the bayfront that's still to the city gate that's still with us, and beyond to the San Sebastian River. This was the Cuba line, the northern town wall we just passed through. And anything north of the town wall where we're headed, well into the 19th century, was considered to be frontier land. No one wanted to build out here, no one wanted to live out here until after the Civil War was over. Much too dangerous to do so. But times would change, and a wealthy businessman from Philadelphia, William Ward, would come down here to build his winter castle outside the town walls. You'll see it coming into view shortly on the right-hand side at the Warden Castle. Now, William Warden, a one-time business partner with Henry Flagler and John D. Rockefeller, had a large family that included 13 daughters. So he built his winter castle, as you'll see here in a few moments, nice and big for his large family. 17 bedrooms on the inside, but only one bathroom. Oh my goodness, how'd you like to be the only little brother in that family? Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Marjorie Keenan Rawlings, she purchased the property, converted it into a hotel, and one of her guests was a philanthropist by the name of Robert Ripley. Mr. Ripley so enjoyed his visits here to St. Augustine, he tried to purchase this property for his own use, but it wasn't until after his death in 1949 that his estate was able to acquire the property. When they did, converted it into the world's first Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. Now, we are unable to take this trolley into this parking lot right now. There's too many tour vehicles in there at once. Ripley's doesn't let us send 2 trolleys at the time. I think we have 3 in there right now. So all you have to do if you want Ripley's, I'm going to go across the street here on the right-hand side to our next trolley stop at the San Marco Welcome Center, and then you can walk right back here into Ripley's if that's where you want to go next. You may also want to visit David. You see his head and shoulders above the hedge line here to the right. It's a replica of Michelangelo's David. You see him in there? Yeah. Standing there naked as a jaybird. You don't see him? And if you feel cheated about visiting David, you know he's there. All you have to do is get across the street from where I'm going to let you off here at the next trolley stop if you want to visit David. And when you look up at David's statue from inside that hedge line, you're going to be amazed to see how large his hands are. Dear, oh dear. All right, so now you get the idea how close we're going to be to Ripley's. We're going to pull in here to the left. There's another look at David. If you have the Ghost and Gravestone tour booked with us in the evening, this is where you come to pick it up. A hauntingly good time in the Trolley of the Doomed. We have free parking for you in the evening for that event. Your ghost host takes you around town, explaining the paranormal experiences documented in St. Augustine throughout the ages. And the real treat, you get to go inside the old jail at night. Very spooky. This is going to be your next trolley stop for Ripley's, which is on our left now, or for uptown St. Marco on our right. This is trolley stop number 18, right-hand side of the trolley if you're leaving, my friends. Right-hand side away from the wall if you are leaving. Take your time. All right, anybody leaving the trolley back there? You're all good? Anyone on the porch waiting for a trolley? Well, we'll ring the bell then and continue our tour. How does that sound? Here we go, my friends. Please remain seated. We'll head into uptown San Marco now and continue our journey to the north. Across the street in front of us, you'll see the Renaissance Hotel once again. It's modeled after 3 grand hotels that once stood here back in the Gilded Era. We lost to history. Did a great job with the construction, the design. 3 different hotels into one building. This part of town is also known as the Abbott Tract, named for a lady by the name of Lucy Abbott. Sorry about that, folks. I thought I was moving. You guys okay? Where you headed? Watch out for traffic, sir. Merry Christmas. I'll go that way. You go that way, I'll go this way. I don't know who that guy was. You see Lucy Abbott's mansion down here on the right-hand side. That grayish green Victorian mansion belonged to Lucy Abbott. She returned after the Civil War, go on to build 126 Victorian houses between here and Water Street. Quite a significant achievement in 19th century Florida. Women did not yet officially have property rights. You'll see some of her Grand Victorians here on the street front, converted over the years to boutiques, gift shops, and a couple of upscale restaurants here in uptown San Marco. But if you'll allow me to set the stage where I'm taking us next, perhaps the most important trolley stop on the entire tour. From a historic or religious perspective, it's the mission grounds. Mission Nombre de Dios, meaning the name of God. It is the landing site of our founder, Don Pedro Menendez de Alvarez. Came ashore to establish the colony of St. Augustine here, September 8, 1565. 42 years before the British established their first colony in what would become the United States of Jamestown, Virginia. 55 years before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock. And the landing of Menendez here is marked by the Great Cross you see out here on the right-hand side out on the mission grounds. 208 feet tall, 70 tons of stainless steel. Placed here in 1965 and gift from the diocese to help us celebrate what was then our 400-year anniversary. Let's pull in here to stop number 19, get you close to the landing site. There's a free museum here off the trolley on the right-hand side with some important finds from the first Spanish colonial period, including the outer casing of Pedro Menendez's coffin gifted to us by our sister city in Spain, Alvarez. You can walk across the footbridge to the landing site and on over to the historic chapel in the center of the graveyard, the home of the Shrine of Our Lady of La Leche, the oldest Marian shrine in the United States with a heritage dating back to 16th century Spain. As we come around the circle here, and just before I ring the bell, look over the footbridge on the right-hand side, just beneath the Great Cross, see if you can find the statue there with outstretched arms of Francisco Lopez. On this spot, the day of the landing, Father Francisco Lopez de Mendoza Grajales celebrated the first documented Roman Catholic Mass in this part of the New World, often referred to as when Christianity began in what is now the United States. This is stop number 19, either side of the trolley if you're leaving us here, folks. And there is your bell. 19 it is. And across the waterway in the center of the graveyard, well, the fort was 16. We skipped Ripley's, which was 17. San Marco Workup Center was 18, and this is 19. Oh, that's in the other direction. Yeah, we did that before the fort. I picked you up at the fort. Yeah, the oldest house is going downtown. We'll get you down there. We'll get to stay on this trolley when we get to the depot, and we'll get you to the oldest house. Yes, you did. At 16, you crossed the street. Yeah, you crossed the street from number 5. That's how you found me. Or I found you, I should say. Where else do you want to go other than the oldest house? St. Augustine History Museum? It's up here at stop number 1. You saw that already, okay. Via Zorreda, that's at stop number 9. You'll hit that before you get to the oldest house. Are you here tomorrow? You can do it tomorrow. You don't. Those tickets don't expire. So, well, the trolley runs tomorrow. You can. Okay, we'll figure it out. I would do the Via Zorreda, and then I'd do the oldest house. All right, stay on this trolley though. It's very important you stay on this trolley. Oh, now you can't do all 3. No, that's going to take too long, even if you had all day. All right, my friends, we're going to pull into our next trolley stop. I want to introduce you to the oldest resident in the oldest city, the old senator. He's more than 650 years old. Yes, he is. Right in front of us, this live oak tree. Twice the age of a normal live oak, so I'm thinking he might have tapped into the opera folk meeting, the Fountain of Youth nearby. This is stop number 20. And in the center of the trunk system, you might be able to see that Florida palm tree that managed to root itself in there years ago, growing up nice and strong as a passenger on board. This is trolley stop number 20. And here is your bell. Anybody off here?
Well over 600 years old and thus surviving as through silent witness to the dramatic moment in 1513 finally discovered.
All right, last call.
Famed Fountain of Youth, a mere 600
Wished, will you?
very spot.
All right, my friends, whether or not you like all that Spanish moss, get ready to feast your eyes on Magnolia Avenue. Coming up next, National Geographic magazine considers Magnolia Avenue to be one of the 10 most beautiful streets in our nation. With this canopy of live oak trees, you'll see, replaced the magnolias we lost here years ago. So if you're taking pictures, have your cameras ready on either side of the trolley. You don't want to miss this magnificent Magnolia Avenue. Check this out. The sun is streaming through. Now, this canopy is formed naturally by the influence of the ocean breezes coming in from the east, bending these trees on the right to the top of the road in the center. The wall you see on the right serves as a boundary to the archaeological park and the Fountain of Youth. You might want to do this one next if you already have your tickets. It's not the same as the coquina we discussed earlier downtown at the Ford and other places. You can see this is different. Whole oyster shells mixed with sand and lime. The Spanish called it tabi or tabia. So what do you say we pull in here where it all began for the Spanish? Ponce de Leon came ashore Easter Sunday 1513. And when you visit this park, yes, you can drink from the same fountains that are still flowing. You can also visit the archaeological digs where, in the 1930s, the Smithsonian uncovered the first Spanish settlement adjacent to those mission grounds we just left. Plenty to do and plenty to see. They have live armament demonstrations, a planetarium, and much, much more. Look for peacock. Dozens of peacock and peahens roaming freely all over the properties. So let me straighten out the trolley for you, my friends. If you're leaving us here, please wait for the bell. Exit on either side. Take your time, turn around, and back down all the way.
Lo más cerca del carro posible. Y entonces, si quieres, nos bajamos aquí y caminamos.
The oldest house.
Media milla, ¿verdad?
That's open tomorrow too, but the Via's Ride is closed tomorrow. So you want to do it today. All right, anybody off here? Let me continue the bell. All right, here we go. Back to the depot and stop number 1, folks. You have a couple of choices here when we get to the depot. You can remain aboard the trolley. You'll have another tour guide join you, take you downtown for a full tour. Trolleys leave here every 15 minutes until 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is the last trolley tour leaving the depot, headed downtown. Okay? And it comes back just before 6 p.m. or maybe midnight, the way traffic's building up. But anyway, folks, you got to have another good look at Magnolia Avenue. When you're at the depot, don't forget you have a complimentary pass into the St. Augustine History Museum, located next to the old jail. Just walk inside Gator Bob's down the hallway through the turnstiles. Help yourself to a self-guided tour. The old jail and the old store museum experience are also available until 4:30. All right, we're going to enter into a neighborhood quiet zone here in just a few moments where I'm required to come off the speakers. I'll be back on with you shortly before we arrive at the depot. Here we go, into the quiet zone. Sir. All right, my friends, I am back with you. And as I mentioned, when we get to the depot, this is where we change tour guides. So let me take this opportunity to say thank you so much for riding with us today on the trolleys. I appreciate your patience with all the traffic downtown. But I certainly hope you enjoyed the time on the trolley with me this afternoon as much as I enjoyed sharing our important history and the beautiful sights of St. Augustine with you. Hope you go on to have a great weekend here. Take the opportunity to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I do have one last request. If you are leaving this trolley here, please remain in your seats until I ring the bell. And then I'm going to ask you to get off the trolley on the left-hand side away from the boarding area. Please remember to take your time. It's important you turn around and back down, holding on tightly to the grab bars and handholds as you descend. Stand by one, folks. Remain seated until I get some direction from the dispatcher.